This new house is sick. I got the exact plot I wanted and everything. I mean, we can even just put that on the front lawn. Imagine how pissed the neighbors are going to be. They're going to look over and they're just going to see this giant... Oh my god!
Hurry up, boys. These spells ain't gonna prune themselves.
Dude, I've got to call you back. The bank is repossessing my spells. What up, gamers? I'm Aaron. It's February 2026 and the Midnight expansion is about to launch. You log in to find that just like me as a baby, your character has fallen and suffered a very hard blow to their very soft skull. Now, the doctors were really unsure what the long-term effects might be for me, but in terms of your character, we know that we're going to be forgetting some of our most beloved spells. The reactions to this have unsurprisingly been quite mixed. See, your class is now either a pure, distilled version of its class fantasy, or your class went to the wrong Silver Moon, and they got lost, leaving their gameplay quality back in the Burning Crusade. But what does this mean for you and I? Well, realistically, this is going to change everything about how we play the game. But for you and I, we need this to change nothing. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Aaron, your brain injury is showing, but stick with me for a second. When have I ever led you astray? So to explain this, we're gonna have to go back to the beginning. Classic was a magical time. At least, I assume it was. I was 4 years old. But if we acted like Classic wasn't home to some of the most dogshit game design of all time, we'd just be lying to ourselves. But every once in a while, a big change comes around, and it's on us to evolve alongside the game we love. So, the Wrath of the Lich King expansion changed everything by showing the world that damage rotations with more than one button were actually really fun. Years later, Mists of Pandaria would suggest maybe alts shouldn't take 6 months to level. And Legion would then go on to promote the radical idea that dungeons could be relevant content for more than the first 48 hours of an expansion launch. And this goes on and on until today, here on the brink of midnight where we're staring down the barrel of this pruning gun. And it might seem silly if you're newer to the game, but at every single one of these changes, tons of people have fallen off the World of Warcraft wagon. Because whenever a big change like a prune happens, every single person has to ask themselves, do I still care about World of Warcraft? And in terms of the prune, I mean, if you're a PP piss boy who can't have fun without Cloudburst Totem, then maybe no, you don't care anymore. But for me, and I hope you too, the answer is, yeah, of course I still care. Because after answering that question, you've got a couple options. You could say, maybe this game isn't for me anymore. You could hang in the towel, and instead, you could PayPal your $15 a month to your old buddy Aaron. You could also choose to be the worst type of person ever, where you still play the game every day, but you never stop complaining about it. Or, you can say, whether I like this change or not, I'm going to continue to play, and I'm going to do my best to rise to the top of whatever the game is now. And I've spoiled it a bit with that last sentence, but what I was about 4 jokes away from revealing is that the main point here is that the game is getting shaken up quite a bit. And when things change, some people are going to sink, and some people are going to swim. So if you want to be swimming, we're going to have to evolve and grow gills and all that crazy shit. See, adaptability is without a doubt one of your biggest skills as a WoW player. Adaptability is not just big in WoW, it's big for all of gaming. Adaptability is big in real life, but I am definitely not qualified to give you advice on that. See, every time this game gets a new patch, there is tons of shit happening that you have to adapt to. You've got a new tier set, you're playing a different talent build, the meta is different. So when you really think about it, pretty much every, 6-7 months, you're going to have to learn a whole different game. Getting pruned is quite similar. In fact, just rotationally, I have a feeling most people will recover from the prune within the first couple weeks. The area where the adaptation is going to be a bit harder is mentally. See, the WoW community is pretty much permanently 6 months to 5 years behind in understanding what the fuck is going on around them. You see this all the time if you are unfortunate enough to frequent any space on the internet where the game is discussed. So you can safely say that by simply staying up to date on what's going on in the game and how it's changing, you're going to be flying way ahead of tons of players. A great example of failure to adapt can actually be seen in the recently revitalized Battlefield community. See, while we were getting pruned, they actually gained the ability to slide. And instead of just saying, we can slide now, and learning to play with it and around it, they have instead proceeded to have an insane meltdown. Keep in mind, this is the game that was marketed as being able to jump out of a plane, shoot a rocket launcher, and then continue to fly the plane. However, they are going to freak out because people are sliding instead of lining up to shoot Civil War style. And WoW players are absolutely not innocent in this regard. I mean, think about the players who are sad that they can't just AFK between their healing spells, or the DPS players who never want to kick for the rest of their lives. That shit does not fly today. So if you don't want to seem like you're stuck in the virtual Stone Age, leaving comments about how the Burning Crusade was the best WoW expansion, well, then we're obviously gonna have to find a way to keep up. That doesn't mean you have to like it. I mean, I've been spending a lot of time on the Midnight Beta, and I'm telling you, playing my mage has me wanting to cry. But I've got 19 bozos counting on me to give them arcane intellect. And you have me counting on you to keep caring. Because if you don't care, who's gonna watch my shitty WoW videos? So all that being said, let me give you a couple tips on how you can ascend to the top of this new 2-button rotation world order. The first major piece of advice I can give you here is that there is a very high chance that the changes your class receives are going to change their role in a fight or dungeon. And it's not just your spec either. You know, funnel classes will become AoE patters, single target monsters will turn into cleave gods. So there's gonna be all kinds of changes. Because I want to be clear here, I think a lot of people are actually underestimating the impact that this prune is going to shake up the game. Even if your role is the same, the way that you do it could change. So the most important thing you can do for yourself is figure out your job fast. It is such an uncomfortable thing when you have to play with players who don't understand their role. I mean, I've seen it all. I've seen sub-rogues in Amir Drasil who don't understand that they should be doing infinite boss DPS. I've seen balanced druids who aren't attacking the bomb crabs on sticks. Whatever it is, it's always embarrassing. The most important thing for your success in a WoW raid or dungeon is understanding the role your class plays so you can excel in it. And like I said earlier, the WoW community is on average like 5 years behind in their understanding of the game. So you need to be open-minded to what things become in Midnight rather than constantly being beholden to what they were in the War Within or for that one patch you played them in Battle for Azeroth. This applies to the way you view everybody else as well. If you're making a dungeon group or something and you want to find one that can succeed, you need to understand the roles that every class will play in this new meta. And if you're worried about not being able to figure it out fast enough, well then don't, because your old buddy Aaron's got you covered. You wouldn't leave your old buddy Aaron unsubscribed to, would you? After all we've been through? After that beautiful night we spent together in the Suramar vineyard? Fine. It didn't mean anything to me either. Anyway, the next thing I'd like to tell you is that your fundamental skills are going to be way more important in Midnight. And don't get me wrong, they're probably the #1 thing behind your WoW skill today, but right now you've got a lot of tools to help you deal with movement and cheat out mechanics so that you can keep damaging as much as you want. But in Midnight, a lot of casters are losing a lot of those tools. So you're really going to have to make sure your movement is crisp so that you can continue doing damage as much as possible. For my melee boys and girls, you actually have a major mental advantage here. And the primary reason for that is that you are never going to have to come to terms with the fact that each shadow bolt you cast is 2 seconds of your life. Gone forever. But you are still going to want to make sure that you are maximizing your uptime on the boss. Because as rotations get simpler, more and more players are going to be playing them optimally. And that means that you're not really going to be able to outskill somebody as well as you could today. You're just going to have to kind of do what they're doing, but faster, cleaner, and more precisely. And not just your fundamental skills in terms of movement and uptime. All that other random auxiliary bullshit we've got to do as raiders is going to be way more important as well. See, right now, you could absolutely just outplay someone who's 5 item levels higher than you. But if both of you are just spamming Fireball, then whoever has higher item level is probably going to win 80% of the time. So you've got to also make sure you do everything you can to keep your character ahead of the curve. That means, filling vaults, perfecting your gems and enchants, having the right talent build, doing reps that give you any sort of rewards like the infinite augment rune. Whatever it is, you're going to want to do it because the actual stats on your character are going to be a lot more relevant in terms of competing with others. And now, my final tip for succeeding after the prune is that you can never stop being a student of this game. You probably didn't notice this because I'm always just so humble, but I have a bit of an ego.
I'm probably the best player in the world.
So this is a place where I struggle too. See, you might think in Midnight that because you press your 4 buttons pretty damn good, you don't have a lot left to learn. But I promise you, there are countless players who press those 4 buttons way better than you do. So you need to be chasing those guys down every single week, trying to absorb all the information you can to make sure that you can pop off the same way that they do. And if you're new to a class, then this information is everywhere. I mean, you've got class discords, and you've got Wowhead guides, whatever it may be. But there comes a time in every man's life where he looks at his class discord and he realizes, this is starting to seem a lot more like advice for dumbasses by dumbasses. And when that time comes, it doesn't mean that you can just wander off and figure things out yourself for the rest of all time. When that time comes, go find somebody good. Go watch your class's top streamer. Go watch World First VODs. Whatever it is, keep improving. Because there's going to be a ton of people who say, my class is fucking baby easy now. They're gonna assume they're hot shit, and they're never gonna try to improve any further. In the business, we call those guys idiots. So you are probably going to fly past those guys if you are continually taking steps forward to understanding whatever the hell your class ends up as. But really, that's about it. Midnight is going to be leaving our raid teams more pruny than an old folks home, but it's also going to be shaking up the game more than any expansion in recent history. So you've really got an opportunity here to rise to the top of this new, more pruny society. But whatever happens, if you enjoyed this video, then feel free to check out some of my other content made for a less pruned world. And don't forget that my dumbass reads every single comment. So if you've got anything that you've ever wanted to tell a loser WoW YouTuber, go ahead and drop it in the comments section. Regardless, I'm Aaron, and thanks so much for your time. Peace.
Fucking work sucks. Yeah, I'm silenced again.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm dead again. I just get silenced into dying. This dungeon is so shit.
It is a good day.